Hi friends, I'm Anya.
And I'm Jackie, and welcome to Wives vs. World, where we talk about fun queer stuff and life as a trans lesbian couple. What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about why we don't believe in soulmates.
We don't?
No! And here's why! We're talking about this topic because we've been called soulmates a lot of times throughout the years. And I think people say it because we've always been very vocal and very physical during our relationship and our love, in our love for each other.
You are so noisy.
Persephone is here and she's very, she wants to play right now.
Such a
baby.
Such a spicy little kitten.
But soulmates usually mean something like you're the perfect person for each other, and it often has some kind of connotations with that you're destined to be together, or that you are that there'll be one person out there will.
No way. Just gonna play with the cat.
Soulmates often have this connotation that there'll be one person out there for you who'll be the perfect person, who will immediately get you and everything about you and love you the way that you want to be loved. At this point now, after 13 years together, I do think that you are the perfect person for me and the only right person for me. I couldn't imagine anyone else being more perfect. It hasn't always been like that, and it certainly wasn't like that when we started dating 13
Definitely
years ago.
not.
So I think we should dive into that a bit and talk about what that means.
Yeah, so I think we were absolutely not destined to be together when we got together as teenagers. I mean, we weren't the perfect match for each other, if that makes sense. I think that part has come along the way as we got older, as we got to know each other, as we matured a bit. I believe that being someone's soulmate is not something that is predestined to happen. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes a long time. It develops over that time.
And I think that's really good for people out there to hear that even the couple who seem perfect
weren't always so.
Yeah, exactly. But you can become perfect. That's what we're all about in this business.
Yeah. But why weren't we perfect for each other, you think, when we started dating?
So we got together when I was 15 and Jackie was 17. So we were, in all sense of the words, immature teenagers. We were very half-baked people.
Oh, very kind of you to say were.
It's gotten better, hasn't it? Little bit.
Semi-baked.
That dough has risen.
Let's say we were as immature as you are when you're a teenager. Essentially, still a kid, not quite grown up, but not a small, tiny child, you might have some immature ideas about what love is, about what the world is like, about your place in it. Love at that time can be very selfish. It can be very take and not very give. It can be informed a lot, I think, by
what you see on TV, what a couple is supposed to be, how a relationship is supposed to look like.
Exactly. It's supposed to be, I think, if I were to characterize it, it is big gestures, it is lovely ideas, but it's also nothing but miscommunication and misunderstanding and resentment. But in between that is genuine love and sometimes a lot of passion in the form of anger and fights. It's a very messy picture, and it gives you an idea of something that might be more toxic than most real relationships really are.
Yeah, and that's what you expect and see as normal as well. And I think in our case there was also a lot of heteronormative expectations that kind of interfered with our dynamic in the relationship.
Ruined everything.
It didn't ruin anything.
Ruined everything!
But it sure made our expectations of each other different than what we were comfortable with, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think we communicated that well when we got together. And I mean, who can blame us? We were kids.
Kids, essentially.
Yeah. So, you don't learn those skills. You don't learn that necessarily until you become a kind of young adult. I think that's when most people really start to develop good listening skills. Me personally, I had not, before we met, been coaxed into learning good communication skills, if I can put it that way. As a trans woman, I grew up with the expectation that talking about stuff like feelings, about things you're afraid of, things that make you uncomfortable, was a sign of weakness, essentially. Like, you talk about that, you get a beating. I got a lot of beatings, and I should stress this, not from my parents, who in that regard were progressive, lovely people, but from my peers, I guess, at school. I was often bullied. I was often made to feel very small and stupid for more sensitive pursuits. So I guess by the time we met, I was kind of closed off.
Yeah,
really.
You shut down a lot of...
like very emotionally stunted at that point.
Yeah. Couldn't really talk about your feelings or anything that wasn't a topic, I guess.
No, exactly. But boy, could I talk about topics.
Yeah. Actually, you were a bit closed off in all regards.
Yeah, that's true.
You didn't talk a lot.
No, I was
honestly.
Silent, beautiful type.
Yeah. And especially what bothered me, because I was raised in a way where we
talk about all the things. Yeah.
And especially how we feel how our day is and stuff.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I was really frustrated when I wanted you to ask about my day.
Ask me about my day now.
Yeah. And
okay, how was your day?
When I came home, you just said like, hi. And you never, I was like, don't you want to know what I've been up to or anything? And you were just like...
I guess you'll tell me if you tell me.
Yeah, exactly. But I really wanted you to show some kind of interest.
Yeah.
So I had to, at some point, say, like, please ask me how my day was, because I want to tell you. And you were like, but you can just tell me. And I was like, I know, but I want to know that you're interested in hearing.
Yeah.
So that was some of the conversations we had really, really early on, like within the first year.
I had to take into account a lot of things that I had just not really thought about before.
Yeah, and you weren't used to actually thinking about what you felt about stuff, how your day made you feel.
And when you're just not that used to that kind of introspective analysis, that's just really, really, really boundary pushing.
Yeah.
But can I say, refreshing. And ultimately for the better.
And that made us talk a lot more than we had done in the beginning of our relationship.
Indeed.
Also in the beginning, we didn't necessarily have a whole lot of opinions that we agreed on. I don't know, we didn't have a lot of fully formed opinions. When you're a teenager, you don't necessarily have a huge, great understanding of the world and your place in it. And I definitely think I had a lot of immature opinions, and I couldn't necessarily explain them or ground them or anything. I've always been very confident, and I'm sure I've said a lot of stupid stuff.
With a totally straight face.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is the way things should be.
Yeah. And I'm not the same person anymore. I don't think the same things I did when I was a teenager.
No, thank God.
Yeah, and I think especially in the beginning you were a bit like, what?
Oh no!
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Oh no, that's very different.
And it's not because I necessarily disagreed with you. I just had no understanding of politics or how the world functioned. I had a lot of ideas about a lot of my ideas were founded in like aesthetics and like my idea of the world, but not in a societal context.
What was it?
Beauty should not be practical.
Luxury is an inconvenience.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that informed my worldview a lot. Like
when we discuss concepts like falling in love and being in love or loving each other, the image that I get when I think falling in love is the head over heels, it's the romantic gestures, it's the standing with a boombox outside someone's window and sweep them off their feet kind of romance.
I remember the first time I met you when I was 14. We didn't start dating after a year later. Mm-hmm. And I could hardly talk to you because my heart was just out of control and my voice was just like shaky.
On the other hand, you have the being in love kind of more, you coexist, but the passion is not there. The moms and dads you see in TV shows in tabloids or, in your life, like people who are settled, who have found a routine, but like
they're happy enough, but they don't seem very passionate about each other.
No, exactly. And I think we're presented with these two kinds of storylines about what it's like to love someone. Like, I think the amount of times that we've been told that we act like a couple that has just fallen in love.
Then people hear that we've been
together for 13 years.
Over a decade, and they're like, What? I thought you just met each other. We never stopped wanting to touch each other and kiss each other and talk to each other and tell
You
each
are
other
the
how
most
beautiful.
interesting person I know.
Yeah, exactly. Same.
Also the most beautiful, and you're very soft, very
Thank you.
supple,
Thank you.
very nice.
So yeah, I think that's where that comes from, and I think it's important to know that there is a place between the huge gestures, just falling in love, and yeah, sure, we're comfortable around each other, kind of love.
Yeah, we've met.
we keep
Being interested.
keep being interested in each other, and if you want to do something nice or say something nice to the other person, just do that instead of think, no, that's for the silly youth to
They're
do. Or,
fine, whatever. I'll just
they know I love them. I
I'll
don't
bring
have to
them
say
some
it.
flowers on their birthday. When
Yeah.
was that again?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This also reminds me of how many times that one of us has been told, oh, I wish my partner would talk to me that nice or say such nice things to me or compliment me like that. And my response to that is always, do you do that to them? Do you talk to them like that?
Yeah. When was the last time you gave them flowers?
Yeah, exactly. Every time it has been like, oh, well, I don't. And I just think, why should they do it then? Like, you're kind of in this together. Tell them that they are beautiful and handsome and good looking, and that their shirt is nice today or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, no one doesn't like compliments. Is that just coming from me because I'm what did they call me?
Narcissist.
No, that's not what they called me. Vain. Oh yeah, right. They called me vain. But no, I genuinely believe that. I think that if you want to get compliments from your partner, you should give compliments. And I don't really understand the notion of not wanting to give compliments.
No.
Because if you're with someone, there must be something you like about them. And why not tell them that on a daily basis? I don't know.
Like, what eventually turned us into soulmates is the fact that we rely on each other, that we can communicate, that we're vulnerable with each other, and that we're genuinely interested in each other.
I will always say that communication is the most important thing in a relationship, because I truly, truly believe that. But I think that's easier said than done. Communication can be really hard, and I think one of the most important things are to, when you ask questions, when you listen to your partner, when they tell you things, when they say how they want to be loved, it's important not just to listen, but to take it in. And if you hear something that you don't want to hear, maybe it's uncomfortable, or maybe it makes you angry or something, try to focus on understanding what's being said instead of getting defensive or getting angry or something like that. Another person can't read your thoughts, they can't read your mind, they don't know what that you're thinking. I wish they would give me flowers, or I wish they would ask me about my day.
Even for soulmates.
Even for soulmates, no one just knows that about you if you haven't given them any indication. Even though it can feel really stupid and vulnerable to say, I want you to ask me about my day. I think a lot of people will feel stupid saying that, or feel, ashamed.
Yeah.
They will feel ashamed if they have to ask for that. You still have to do that. You still have to say, it's really important to me. I'm not saying this because I don't like you or because you're doing something wrong, but it means a lot to me. And there can be a million conversations like that. It's important to say those things, it's important to ask those things, and it's important to listen and take it in when you explore each other and stuff like that.
You and I started on ground zero. We did not have lives. We did not, well, as much of a life as a teenager can have, but we didn't have separate experiences that led us to where we were. We weren't like, well, I've had 30 years of blah, 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 and so many relationships, and I've lived there and there and had these jobs and these interests. And like, people who are meeting when they're our age, like now, they've led, well, a life that's twice as long as when you met me. And we could intertwine and become grown-ups together, which I think has also made our relationship especially strong. And I think when people say that our relationship is enviable, or that they wish they could have something like we have, I think that's also putting an unrealistic expectation on what a relationship can be. Sometimes we are a couple, that's our dynamic. At other times, our dynamic will be more like that of best friends, or even as siblings who have grown up together.
The point is that soulmates isn't necessarily something that you are destined to be. It's something you can become over time. If you want a beautiful and strong and intimate relationship, you have to give as much as you get, and it does take a lot of time and dedication to each other. And that's a beautiful thing. That's not in any way a bad thing. We hope you liked this video, and if you did, you can subscribe for more.
It's true. And if you want to be sure to get a notification whenever we upload, you can hit the bell icon.
We try to upload most Sundays, but if you want more of us in the meantime, you can find us on Instagram.
If you just can't get enough.
We hope to see you next time.
Bye!